Hello everyone, I'm tribalkai and welcome to the EDH channel. This video is dedicated to Christian Roberts. If you'd like to support the channel as well, then you can visit Patreon and donate with the link in the description below. Failing that, a like, comment and subscribe is always appreciated. Now, let's have a look at everyone's opening hands. First off, I'll be piloting Christian's Kodama and Sakashima list. And I'm not too sure about this one. We've got a 3-lander and because it's green mana we'll be able to ramp hopefully and fix our colours into blue. I'm hoping that Salvage is going to be able to draw and ramp us, so I'm deciding to risk this one. Now it's Vial Smasher and Sakashima from Polar Bear Soup. And this hand could be good. It's going to take him an age to get into Treasure Cruise and Expropriate. But he's got some control in the early game, a bit of mana ramp. He wants to be getting into some lands off the top and some card draw really, which Arcane Denial might be able to help him with. Up next is Billy Kills with Ich-Tekik and Rebbec. And that hand is very good. They can obviously ramp in the early game with those two spells. They've got a little bit of removal. Eldrazi Displacer they can go for thanks to the Talisman on their Precursor Golem or their Green Commander. I expect Billy Kills to get off to a flying start with that hand. Then finally it's Harley Zane TV with Imori, Celebrant of Bounty. And what do you say about that hand? That's pretty unlucky. A mull down to 5. They've at least got some lands, but they need everything really. Ramp, removal, card draw. But if anyone can get into it, it's Simic, and of the Simic strategies that you could go for, Cascade ought to help you catch up pretty quickly. Now, let's get through to the gameplay and see who comes out on top. Leave a comment down below on who you think's going to win, and then we'll see if you were right or not. Well, the thumbnail is going to be fun on this one with a bunch of partner players at the table. We have an okay hand. I know full well that if I mulligan that, I'm going to lose lands, so let's keep it. This deck is brought to us by long-time Patreon supporter Christian Roberts, by the way. So he has decided to have me play his Kodama and Sakashima deck. I know that was very popular the last time I played mine, so hopefully you'll enjoy this one as well. A big thank you to Christian for supporting the channel and letting me play his deck. Alright, we get into Harrow. I was hoping that we'd get into some ramp of some kind. We'll get down the tap land in the desert. No turn 1 plays yet, except from Polar Bear Soup, who gets into a mana crypt, not doing anything with it, curiously. We get ourselves into an island, so I say we represent some counter magic and pass the turn. Rampant Growth coming in from Billy Kills, and that is getting countered by Arcane Denial from Polar Bear Soup. Don't think I've ever seen anyone counter a Rampant Growth before. Might just be using it for card draw if he's missing land drops, because he will get to draw an extra card with the Arcane Denial, and here it is during his own turn. Then Talisman of Indulgence from him, and we get into Tatyova, so I think we'll go for Salvage. That ought to be the type of thing that would get countered, and he is holding up priority still. But that comes down. Oh, and some pretty spiky plays going on here now, thanks to the Arcane Denial countering the Rampant Growth. Billy Kills going in for a Talisman and then strip mining the Underground Sea. Luckily getting into the blue mana again with Arcane Signet. And we managed to get into a land again, so let's go for a forest. We can sacrifice that to the Harrow and maybe just go Tatyova next turn. And Harley doesn't seem to be having a whole lot of luck over there, just tapping out for the 4th turn in a row, making lands at least. Kills getting into an Ancient Tomb, and that takes him through to Thran Dynamo, which will get him into Anointed Procession. And I think this is his Golem tribal deck, making a bunch of Golem tokens. Not sure what he's got planned other than that. Now Joyrus Familiar coming down, doing well considering he doesn't have any lands anymore. And that triggers the Salvage. He will not draw a card, it's only a 2-2. Okay, so let's go for the Harrow here. And we'll just get an island, and we'll get another island. Okay, Boundless Realms. If we can survive a turn with Tatyova, or if Tatyova can survive a turn cycle, then Boundless Realms is going to draw us a lot of cards here. Let's go for Tatyova. And then we'll draw a card with Salvage, gets us into another land. Let's drop Command Tower, that will gain us a life and draw. Alright, and there's a Cultivate. So, yeah, it's just a case of keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that we can have Tatyova stick around. Oh, actually, that's annoying, yeah. Should have cast the Cultivate there. I was considering swinging in towards Billy Kills there and then thought that we shouldn't bother doing that, and now, yeah, seen that we should have gone for the Cultivate there. Whoops. Anyway, haven't seen this one yet. Imori, Celebrant of Bounty. And that cascades into another new commander, Jalanra, Caller of Wirewood. Now, Ich-Tekik, Salvage Splicer coming into play, and that gets a couple of 3/3 golems thanks to the Anointed Procession. And there is Kenrith's transformation, so should have taken use of the Cultivate while we had the chance. It's not going on to our commander at least though. Vial Smasher the Fierce, so some commanders coming into play now from Polar Bear, and he'll have to discard a card at the end of the turn. Discards Expropriate, that's a good one to get rid of. I think maybe we just have to concentrate on ramping and make do with the fact that Tatyova isn't going to draw us cards. Yeah, so let's tap down the Selvala, and we'll play a land and go Boundless Realms here. That will get us into 7 lands. And then it's 2 blue mana held up again, so we'll try and make people play around that. Then down comes Karuga, and they're going to, is it equal to other creatures? For each other permanent you control, so they'll draw a couple of cards with Karuga, going up to 8 cards in hand. Billy Kills casting Rebbec, Architect of Ascension, and Harley discarded a Cultivate by the way when they were up at 8 cards in hand. They would have drawn from our Selvala. Now Second Harvest from Billy Kills will get him into a bunch of Golem tokens, because he would have got 2 ordinarily there, but thanks to the Anointed Procession, it doubles that to 4. So now we are getting a Golem token, and one is going in at Polar Bear as well. These have protection from 0, 2 and 4 CMC. So we could trade them a Golem here if we wanted to. I think we might be able to get rid of the transformation, so we'll just keep the Tatyova in play for the sake of a Lightning Bolt. Now Sakashima coming down, and that deals 4 damage to, is it each of us? No, it's a random opponent, so we ate 4 damage there. Sakashima comes down as a copy of Vial Smasher, so it's double damage per spell that they cost, or the first spell during each turn. And everyone's tapped out pretty much, so I think it's time to try and do something with Kodama here. Okay, Well of Blossoms is something to cheat in at least. So we'll go for the Kodama. We should draw a card here with Selvala, so I'll say yes there. Just get into an island. Yeah, why not just go Sakashima then? Let's tap down the Selvala, and that makes us 6 mana thanks to Kodama. Get down our own Sakashima. We'll have that come down as a copy of Tatyova, I think. That triggers the Kodama. We're not going to draw from the Selvala, so it doesn't matter what order we put these in. We'll throw out the Wall of Blossoms, and it's another land for us from the Wall of Blossoms. So let's throw out a forest. Might just have to rely on Return of the Wild Speaker here. We'll put Kodama on the stack first. Tatyova will draw us a card, and that is an Acidic Slime, which I might cast this turn. Kodama triggers on the land, so we'll get another land into play, which triggers the Tatyova again, of course. Drops us a Sol Ring, which lets us get landfall again. So once again, we'll go for the forest. Alright, Tamiyo. I don't think it's a good idea to cast Tamiyo until there's been a board wipe. Why don't we go Acidic Slime onto the Procession maybe? Yeah, I think we can go for that. So point Acidic Slime at Anointed Procession, and then we can drop something in with Kodama. We could get a free Tamiyo here, but I think we're best just going landfall yet again. We haven't played a land yet, so that Cultivate might be relevant. We get another Sakashima. So I think while everyone shields down, we just go for a bunch of card draw here. Alright, and that gets us into... We've got one more land there. We can cheat the land into play with Mana Crypt. So, yeah, let's just do that. Throw down the Myriad Landscape. Alright, Vorinclex. Can we cast Vorinclex? I don't think so. 2, 4, and 6 we've got. If we go for Mana Vault, we might be able to. So, drop the Mana Vault. Triggers the Kodama, which can get us into the Wayfarer's Bauble. So, let's go for the Vorinclex here. A little bit greedy, but we don't have any counter magic or anything anyway. So we'll go Kodama. I think we'll draw a card off of the Vorinclex here with Selvala. Yes, we do. And there we go, it's a land, so we could cheat that into play. I think maybe Sakashima is a better idea here. Yeah, let's just go hell for leather and hope there's no board wipe. Sakashima can come down as a copy of Tatyova. Oh, and then we must have played a land for the turn. I didn't think we had, so... yeah, alright, that looks like it's us done then. Not allowing us to play that, so I assume we can't. Seems as though that was a pretty constructive turn, doesn't it? We're kind of encouraging the board wipe here as well for Tamiyo to come down into. So we've got stuff to do even after a board wipe. We don't have that much to do, but we've got some things at least. We managed to ramp way ahead of our opponents, if nothing else. Tapping down some lands into the Vorinclex, and that gets them into Galta, Primal Hunger. That will definitely draw them a card, and no one else will be able to draw off of our Selvala, I imagine. That does Cascade with the Emoti, so they get themselves into a Warm Power Stone. Okay, and I'm going to assume that there's counter magic being held up over here. 7 cards in hand, discarded a Skyclave Relic to hand size. Might be that all these golems come in at us, so if someone turns in sideways at us, mainly Billy Kills with all this stuff, then it might be worth just going for Tamiyo and drawing a card for each tapped creature that an opponent controls. Song of the Dryads. Tapping down just 1 land for that, thanks to having a Thran Dynamo. So Song of the Dryads deals with our Vorinclex, so they get to tap down their other 2 lands carefree. We've tapped down a couple over here as well. Oh, and there's a Persecutor Golem. So if we can get rid of this thing and then point some removal at one of their golems, then it will deal whatever damage or removal to all of the golems. So it's always a risky one with the Persecutor Golem, but if you're going for Golem Tribal, then you kind of have to run that one. Now, swinging in at us with 4 3/3 golems, make that 6 3/3 golems. They've got protection from 0 to 4 and 5 now. Yeah, that 5 is relevant with the Persecutor Golem because we've got a lot of 5 CMC stuff here. Let's just block one of the golems. I think trying to get into Tamiyo to draw a bunch of cards off of these would be a good idea next turn. We'll draw 5 there. At least we'll hopefully be able to gain a bunch of life off of our 2 Tatyovas. One of the golems has died, so the Ich-Tekik will put a plus counter on all the golems. Be good to try and get into a Bane of Progress, although I don't think it's in the deck. Oh, Treasure Cruise, that is a lot of damage. I think that went on to Billy Kills. Yeah, I don't think it tells you who was dealt the damage there, but I think it was Kills. Managing to get into a land by turn 8, so that's been pretty unlucky for Polar Bear. Even without the early strip mine, still didn't get into a lot of lands apparently. Okay, Kozilek Butcher of Truth ought to get countered by the Simic player over here, so might be worth just going for that. Let's see about cracking the Myriad Landscape, see what we can draw into with our Tatyovas. Don't know how many basics we've got left actually. Oh, we've got plenty left. So we'll just get some forests into play here. That will allow us to cheat a desert into play. We'll put Kodama on the stack first, see what we draw into with Tatyova. That is more lands. That is another land, so let's go for the desert in tapped, which will trigger the Tatyovas again, and you can see where we're going here. Getting into Rishkar's Expertise, Mystic Remora, drop a forest with the second Kodama trigger, which will draw us even more. I think we can go for Sakura Tribe Elder and cheat in the Mystic Remora with that. Actually, we might as well go Cultivate here, I think, because again, we haven't played a land from hand this turn. We're going to run out of basics. Put a forest into play tapped. Draw with the Tatyovas again, and the Cultivate put a permanent into play, so let's just go for the bridge, which we've just drawn into with Tatyova. We'll get our tap lands out of the way as best we can. Mosswalk Bridge will trigger Hideaway. And, oh, Time Spiral's nice. So is Royal Elemental. I think it's 10 power we need in play. We'll just have to hope that we don't see a board wipe. We could always hold on to the Kozilek, I suppose. Yeah, it's 10 power. So how's about Royal Elemental? I'd like to draw into Royal Elemental to steal this thing away so that we can try and start dealing with these golems. So why don't we just put this underneath? So let's just put the Time Spiral underneath that, and we'll try and shuffle things around to get into that Royal Elemental. Drop the Mystic Remora, just in case there is counter magic here still. They'll give us some cards if they do cast it at least. Drop an Island, draw cards with the Tatyovas again. Edric, Spymaster of Trest. Let's shuffle things around with 3 visits. Only 1 basic forest left in the deck, which is relevant, so we'll save that for the Sakura Tribe Elder, or actually save it for the Wayfarer's Bauble. Sakura Tribe Elder can just be a blocker. And Kodama, cheat scene, Temple of the False God. Alright, and there we are. Got into it. So, let's see here. We've got a land to make there. We'd want Lightning Greaves preferably. Let's just try some counter magic again. Teferi's Ageless Insight will double up the card draw whenever we make landfall. And that enters, so maybe there's no counter magic here. We'll get down the Labman, and I'm just going to assume there's no counters now. Let's get down the Royal Elemental. The Royal Elemental can cheat in the Tamiyo, and we'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That'll be 10 cards if we point that over here, so we'll do that now. And we probably don't have any basics in the deck that we can grab now, so let's see. We've got Oracle of Muldiah to make another land. There's Treasure Cruise that we could cast with the Diluvian Primordial. I don't know if we're going to be able to draw into our deck here. We'll draw 8 cards from the Kozilek. Don't want to tap out for Kozilek really though. We'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 cards. Doubled up to 16 with Regal Force. And then that can get Soul of the Harvest into play. Yeah, so maybe we just do that. Definitely could have gotten everything going here if we had the Vorinclex in play. So that was good removal from our opponent. I think we need to get Lightning Greaves onto this Labman really, don't we? So we go down to 8 cards in hand. Let's cheat down. Yeah, I think we just need to go for it at this point. If anyone's got something that they can do to the Laboratory Maniac, then so be it. We'll grab a second Harvest and a Treasure Cruise and a Cultivate. Won't bother casting Cultivate. Oh, and it didn't give us the option to... I just said no to casting Cultivate. It said, do you want to cast Cultivate? And I said no. And then it just stopped us from casting anything else. Do you have to cast everything with Diluvian Primordial? That's annoying if we've just thrown the game away because of that. Alright, well, let's make some mana with the Selvala. I think we'll be okay. We'll get this Lightning Greaves out, which triggers Kodama. And we'll get a Forest into play with that. Still haven't played a land from hand. Royal Elemental triggers. We'll take the White Commander away over here. Draw 4 cards in total from our Tatyovas. And then Greaves can go on to Labman. And quietly confident that we can get away with it here. 4 cards left in hand, so we just have to draw some cards here. So we'll go for the Oracle of Muldiah so that we can make 2 lands. Kodama will cheat something into play for us as usual. And we'll just get down the Elvish Visionary, which will draw us 2 cards. Then drop a land, and that should do it for us. We'll take the Persecutor Golem from them now. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. Now it's asking us to choose a replacement effect. Instead of drawing a card, we'll choose the Laboratory Maniac, of course. Alright, so there we go. Turns out there's 1,000,001 things that you can do with Kodama and Sakashima. And also turns out that Tatyova's pretty good, doesn't it? Massive thank you to Christian Roberts for supporting the channel at the Mythic tier and allowing me to play with his Sakashima and Kodama list. If you'd like to give me a list to play with as well, then you can follow the link in the description below over to Patreon and support me at the Mythic tier. That is $15 a month and I will play with one of your decks and turn it into a video. Massive thank you to Christian Roberts for sponsoring the video and to my opponents for sitting through all that. I'm going to go play another one with them now that is hopefully not as one-sided. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.